this is like a massive problem that people mess up sales calls. And so I thought I'd bring Curtis on because it bugs me, it bugs him. Sometimes people will go to all this effort to get leads and then just bugger them up, basically. So Curtis, just from your point of view, just talk through what you see the way people mess sales calls up.
Yeah, so I think there's several ways that they do. And I think the most common thing is a lot of people tend to think once they're on the call, the sale's already done. So they almost go, actually, I'm just going to pitch my most popular product and they're interested. So I just have to talk about the features, the benefits and what they're going to get. And actually, you need to qualify people because there's some benefits of a product that aren't benefits to some people and some features that are just not relevant. And it just doesn't help you listing out everything. So qualifying has always been a challenge for a lot of people, whether that's knowing what questions to ask and the right questions, because asking the right questions also helps urgency. And we'll talk about that later because that's a big piece of this. But I think there's a nervousness of people going, actually, if I ask too much questions, it almost feels fake and it feels forceful.
Yeah.
So some people don't ask some people don't either ask the right questions or they ask too little questions. And it's always one of those two.
I think you're right on that. People assume that the sale will happen just like it's just going to happen. And you just go on the call. It's amazing how many people I think go on calls and go, yeah, they're interested. So that means they're going to buy my stuff. They're interested in what you just said. That doesn't mean they're interested in, like, if somebody gets a lead from LinkedIn from the webinar, it does not automatically mean they want to buy their stuff. It means they're interested to know a bit more.
Yeah.
And they want to know a bit more about how they can get that thing.
Yeah.
Not the product or service.
No, there's still a big education gap. And I think this probably stems from where a lot of business owners, their leads and their discovery calls probably come from referrals.
Yeah.
And referrals are a lot easier because we've already got that trust. We probably already know what their fix is. And the person who we spoke to had probably said, oh, I'm working with them already and I get this and I do this. So a referral is much more easier to convert. But I would even suggest with a referral, you nearly want to treat everyone the same and go, actually, can I put everyone through that rigid qualification process? Because they might have been referred by Tom, but actually Tom's pain point is going to be completely different to Sean's pain point. So it's still understanding who you're talking to. But I think, business owners get trapped in that. I've built a fairly successful business. All of my deals have come referrals, which are usually a lot more easier to convert.
I'm working with somebody at the moment based in the US. They run an IT business. I think you know what I'm talking about. Won't say their name. And his business is predominantly for about however many years. He's got a team of people and everything, and it's all been word of mouth. And that's a great thing to have. It really is. Like all your business coming from word of mouth, that's like a dream come true. But actually, when you then go on a call with somebody who's not been that, it's easy to go, well, they're not the right fit. They're not ready. Or was it just you were really bad at the sales call?
Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody, when I go on a call, somebody gets me on a call, they got me on the call because they said something that piqued my interest. And I want to know how I can get that. I'm not sold on their method to get there. So I could be sold on, I want the destination you're saying I can get to. So Curtis, you promised me I could be a millionaire in 90 days. Well, let's do it more conservatively, 120 days. So Curtis promises me I can be a millionaire in 120 days. I like the sound of that. I want to know more about how that can happen. But I'm not yet sold on how Curtis is going to get me there. That, I think, is the bit that people miss of I've got to help you see that my way to get there is the best way and you should pay for it.
Yeah.
And I think that I don't know whether it's my autism coming through, but I think people confuse the word solution. The solution is not the service. The solution is how you get there. You have to sell people on how they get to wherever they want to be. Then they go, I'm sold on where you're going to get me to. I'm sold on how you'll get me there. Now, what's the bill? How are you going to actually work with me? I think they slam everything into one, that they want to get there. So if I tell them the service, give them the price, they want to get there, they'll automatically go, well, it's guaranteed that that service will get there. I don't know whether that's, I'm just rambling here, but that's what I see. There's like almost three things you've got to sell them on: the end result, the way you're going to get them to the result, and then the service.
Yeah, and I think most people, especially if you deal with a certain industry and a certain vertical, they all typically have the same problem. So the solution is pretty much, they all are interested in the same end goal. Now, if you look at a lot of the top sales people in the world who talk about this, like your Brian Tracy's and stuff like that, a lot of people do say, yeah, qualifying people, selling them that destination, building rapport, even closing them is vital to the sales call. But they always say actually one of the hardest parts is creating urgency, because we're all interested in the solution. But how do you get someone to go, yeah, I'm interested in fixing the solution right now? Yeah, I think that's where a lot of people forget that, like, they assume everyone who's coming on the call wants to fix the solution right now. But it's not that case. Some are just, oh, that sounds interesting. And yeah, I've got a bit of a pain point. I need to learn more about that. Or some will come in and go, yeah, I know that's my end result, but I have no idea how I would even possibly get there. And I think too many people get too excited and go, yeah, they're on the call to fix it right now, so I'm just going to talk about the product and solution. But actually, we have to do all of the things in front to go, can we qualify them right? Can we demo the solution? Can we get them to buy into our methodology? And that's how we're going to create the urgency to go, you need to move now. And I'm the perfect person who can do this for you. And I'm the person who you can trust.
Yeah, I think that the thing about a sales call as well is, even if you demonstrate that urgency on the sales call, and that, how do you do that? Let's just rewind a bit. How do you create the urgency on the sales call? I have a theory, Curtis, you might have a different version, because every human being's different. So people do respond in different ways. I have a theory that if they start to see the future's possible, and they see how tough it is staying where they are, the cost of doing nothing. In other words, if we make the status quo, we compare their life right now or their operation right now to where they could be, that creates a tension that can prompt people to move faster. I think often for a lot of people, budget is just an excuse of, you haven't actually given me a reason to do it now. And the reason to do it now is, do you want to go back to that?
Yeah.
Or how long do you want to keep that in the distance, that horizon you want to get to? But I think when people come off a call, even if you have a really good call, I think you end up like sinking back into normality again. So like your proposal also has to reinforce that urgency.
Yeah.
But I do think like people don't know. I'm going to have maybe it's an old man rant. I don't think people know what they're selling.
No.
I don't buy a hammer because I want a hammer. I'm not a tool enthusiast. I buy a hammer because I want to put a nail in a wall. And somebody's listening to this going, you should have used a screwdriver or whatever, a drill. I just want to put a nail in a wall. So I go, yeah, I want to put a nail in a wall because I've got these pictures that have not been hung up and the missus is complaining, right? That's the tension for me. I've got work that I should have done, probably going to get mithered and pestered about it. I want to do it. I want to do it as easy in the most straightforward way as possible. I want to just have an easy way to understand, how do I do it? How do I get that? I buy this hammer, these nails, make it really easy for me. And I go, yeah, let's do it, because I don't want to go home.
Yeah. But also in that case, I guess some people want the hammer because they're having their first kid's birthday, and actually that realization of, holy crap, everyone's going to come to my house. It's unfinished. My hallway looks so plain. I need to get these pictures up so it looks like I've actually done some work. So you're essentially selling the same thing, but two people have completely different scenarios here.
Yeah.
And different urgency.
You know, when you said that, I need a hammer because it's got my kid's first birthday. I was like, where's he going here?
No, to be fair, it was probably one of my realizations because I've got Luca's second birthday coming up, and yeah, we've got a bit of things that need doing. So it just made me think and create that urgency within inside me. But I guess that's another key part to it is some people go on these calls and they go, like, you hear all of this stuff of, I need to be direct, I need to be assertive, so I'm going to tell Dean why he needs his hammer and why he's wrong. And yeah, that might work on a couple of people, but actually, realistically, some people get defensive, whether they show it on the call or whether they just go, I'm not going to deal with that person. Really, where you create that change and that motivation for people to go, I want to change this now, is they have to visualize it and picture it themselves. And a lot of the times you have to get them to say it themselves. And I think sometimes we get in this habit of, we want to lead the call, we want to talk and we want to say more. So we have to say these things for them, but it works the other way. You
know, I've never been to Alcoholics Anonymous, but you always see it on TV, right? Where they're going, hello, my name's Dean and I'm an alcoholic.
Yeah.
And there is something powerful in it, in like saying the thing, saying, I have this problem. I don't want to keep having to go through this cycle. I want to get there. Because once you say it, it kind of becomes real. Yeah. It's just a thought whizzing around in the back of your head, like a worry or something. But as soon as you say it, it becomes real. And I know that sounds a bit woo-woo, but it is true. And if you say it for prospects, they don't have to admit it. It's a bit like going, I'm a bit worried about money.
Yeah.
Oof,
I was thinking the same thing, to be fair, because some people go, yeah, I'm getting to the end of the month and I have no money. I need to save money. But the ones who really do well is, it's almost like when you hear successful people, like when they say, how are you successful? How do you make your business grow so quick? And they go, one thing I do is I'll journal every night. I'll manifest and I'll critique my thoughts. And I'm very analytical like that. Same with the saving money part. There will be a lot of people who go, I need to save money, I'm spending too much. But then there's that other person who goes, you know what? I'm going to list out everything I spent this month. Holy crap. I'm spending £400, £500 on eating out. I'm spending £100 here. I'm spending £50 unnecessarily here. That person, the urgency's bigger now because they're now educating themselves a bit more. They're going, okay, I'm spending too much a month. I know what I'm spending it on. I know I don't need to spend that money here. So it starts to become a bigger pain point for those people because they can visualize it. They can understand that part.
It's a bit like, you mentioned Brian Tracy earlier. Brian Tracy, I've listened to most of his audiobooks. There's one where he talks about goals. And he says, the one thing that separates the people who hit the goals, the biggest improvement you can make in hitting your goals is just to write them down.
Yeah.
And I think that whole piece in a sales call of getting the prospect to verbalize, to externalize their problem, to answer that question of, yeah, what am I going to do if I have to live with this for another 6 months? It might seem like a cheesy question, and it is a cheesy question, but the act of them saying it, like, forces it into almost like, oh, this thing's real.
Yeah.
Because until that, I can make I can distract my mind. I can watch Netflix to avoid that worry. I can do all sorts of stuff. It's a bit like the other day. No, it wasn't the other day. Do you remember? It might have been a couple of years ago. I went on a podcast and the podcast was like a sneaky sales pitch. I don't really remember this. We ended up on a call with one of them. And he was asking all these questions. And I turned around in the question and said, it's a very good sales script. I know where you're going with this question. And he reacted really funny to me saying that. I'm like, no, I'm genuinely interested. And I was like, I'm not going to answer this next question. Because I know it was part of the way he would sell.
Yeah.
And that's that kind of negative way of thinking about it. But I did not want to say, because I knew his path, what he was doing, he was trying to help me realize my situation. I don't really remember this call.
No, I don't.
It was with that company who'd help you get trained salespeople, hire and find salespeople. But he was trying to get me to verbalize what some of my challenges, and he wanted to sell this £16,000 sales team recruiting and training package thing to us. And I just wouldn't say it because I knew where he was going. Now, I've kind of undermined my point a little bit, but what I was trying to say is I knew that if I said that I would have to do something about it. And I didn't want to give it to him because I didn't like his approach.
Yeah, and I think this is where sales does tend to get hard, because saying, create urgency, telling people to visualize it and say it themselves, sometimes when you're very new to this, and typically a lot of the people we work with are new to this because they're business owners. Do you mean like they're passionate about the solution?
If you've had
They're
people,
not sales.
Clients sending you introing you on email and stuff like that, and you've had all that going on, and then you have to do this. It's like, oh my God, this is hard.
Yeah. And then most people end up Googling or they'll read books. And sometimes when you're very new to this, it can come out like you're just firing out your set of questions and it feels like an interview. And then people start to go, oh, I've either had this done before to me, I read a book myself, or I've seen this on a podcast. I know where this is going. Now, the brutal truth is you're going to get that. And you do have to go through a couple to almost like kissing frogs, where they say, look, you will mess up a couple, but you also have to find your way of asking these types of questions.
Yeah.
So it's like okay, what would happen if you don't do anything in the next 6 months? I don't have one particularly for that, but I know that when it comes to training, and obviously we train companies how to use LinkedIn better, some of the questions that I get them to visualize and understand what they've gone through is, I'll say like, what have you done before to try and solve this? And they'll tell me, oh, we've joined courses or we've done this. I said, okay, that course you joined last year, how did it go? And like, what sort of results did they provide for you? And then they'll start telling me how bad it was and like that they didn't like it. And then I just really go into that sort of stuff to go, okay, why didn't it work so well? What about the program you didn't like? One, it helps me just understand the stuff that they dislike in terms of a program. So if there's something that we can do better, that's where I'm going to really focus and create that urgency to go, okay, you didn't get the one-to-one support last time, but actually a key feature to our program is we give you on demand. So we're always there every step of the way. But I'm also trying to get them to go, actually, I've tried to fix this before and it's not worked. And I spent 2-3 years doing this without them saying, oh, I've been doing this for 2 years, it's not worked very well. And then I'm going, well, what happens if you don't do this again in 6 months' time? That a lot of these online sales people are showing, and it does feel a bit awkward.
A lot of the things you see online, like these calls that are on video, they're all staged. The only way and we've seen this we've had people come into the business learning sales, and they have these sheets stuck to their laptops with questions. And it's like, you can't actually do that.
No.
Because it's a conversation. Yes, you have to probably hit all of those questions in some way, but you can't just go, so tell me what's going on at the moment and how does that feel? And what happens if this continues? It just feels quite robotic. In my head, the way I see it is for somebody to buy from you.
Yeah.
Right. They're in Birmingham right now and they want to get to Miami. The obvious things are, why do you want to go to Miami? Why are you in Birmingham? Why are you still in Birmingham? Why are you not closer to Miami? How fast do you want to get to Miami? What way do you want to travel to Miami? What have you tried already to get to Miami? And then they answer that and you go, do you want my idea of how to get to Miami? But I just visualize it as like a literal journey.
Yeah.
If you can understand why they haven't left, or if they have tried to leave, why did it not work? And then you understand why they want to get there. That's pretty much it. Like if I go into travel agents, they're selling. Travel agents flipping sell.
Yeah.
You go in there and you go, well, I want to go somewhere warm. What, beach? City break? clubbing, somewhere quiet, with kids, not with kids. I don't want kids. I don't want kids. I want beach. I don't want any kids, but I want to go out and have a great night at night. So now they know what in my head where I want to get to. Okay, so when do you want to go? Oh, I'm not sure really. And then they're qualifying, like, how serious are you? They're qualifying things like, how much do you want to spend? They're doing all of this information to figure out, it's a sales job, but it doesn't feel like you're being sold to, because they're like, oh, I love it that time of year.
Yeah, because I think they're very conversational and quite bubbly, where sometimes in the professional setting, we almost get too stuck in these questions. So it just shows like you're going through emotion. Whereas actually the really good salespeople are the ones who, it's almost like showing that you actually genuinely care. So back to your travel agents one, it's like the really good travel agents will go, wow, I've actually never been to Miami myself. What sort of places would you recommend? So I'm genuinely invested in actually why do they like Miami so much? Maybe I should be going to Miami. And I think that's the difference between really successful salespeople is they can show so much interest into the prospect in front of them that the prospect starts to think, this person actually cares about me fixing this solution as well.
Yeah.
I think
it's a bit like a doctor as well, isn't it? Actually, you go to I was going to say you go to the doctor, but you don't. You get a phone call with the doctor, hopefully in 3 weeks. But when you do see a doctor, they go in and they go, so what's going on? And they ask you to describe what's happening and you know, and then they kind of probe a little bit to find out, does it hurt here? Does it hurt here? And then they come up with a kind of, this is what I think we need to do here. The doctor, that kind of conversational kind of, let's find out what's going on. Who knows? Then we can figure out whether we can do something. I think maybe it's just the pressure. Maybe it's the eagerness and the pressure to sell actually screws people over.
Definitely. Like, you think when you speak to someone and you're just trying to be friends with them, I mean, not even trying to be friends with them, but you just come across someone and you're sat next to them in the theatre and it's just you two, and then you catch eyes. And then all of a sudden you're talking about where you've been on a holiday, how many kids they have, and you're just showing genuine interest, firing out these questions without thinking. But when it comes to a proper sales call, people lose that edge and they go, oh, I've missed. Well, we've had a lot of new salespeople in our own team who've done it before, where they miss valuable pieces of information that could help them on the call, that could help them build better rapport, because they're so stuck on this, oh, I need to ask this next question, and I need to understand this part. And actually just taking that step back to go, actually, okay, they've told me that they like going on the ferry to Miami. All right, how many ferry trips have you been on? Where's your favourite place to catch a ferry?
Hell of a ferry.
Yeah.
So that's a transatlantic flight. Cruise. No, but it's like, it is, I think the best sales calls are when you just understand, where are they? Where do they want to be? And just get a feel for those two areas and go, I can't sell anything until I know that.
Yeah.
If I don't understand where they are, what's been going on, and I don't understand where they want to get to, I can't sell anything. And no amount of me telling them how good my thing is matters. It's like walking in the travel agents, and the travel agent forgets everything about where do you want to go on holiday, and where, you know, or what kind of holidays you like, and goes, oh, we've got this beautiful new cruise ship. It's the biggest one ever. Do you want to go on it? Where's it going? Well, it goes Arctic. It could go to the Caribbean. Well, I don't like Arctic. I don't like cold holidays. Oh, well, you don't sell the cruise ship. You sell the idea of a cruise. What does it feel like? Then, you know, sat on the balcony in the Caribbean and all. But you don't sell the Caribbean to people who want to go around Scandinavia.
No. And I think for a lot of people, it's really understanding that true want or the true pain point, whatever you want to call it. So let's say in our world, we always think, and to be fair, we know this, 9 times out of 10, most people come to us because they're struggling to get leads on LinkedIn. That is our main pain point.
Yeah.
But it's not the probably true pain point that's going to get the person in front of us to cross over. There will be some who go, I'm not getting enough leads on LinkedIn. I'm introverted. I struggle with putting myself out there on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
How can you help me? We have some people who aren't getting leads on LinkedIn because they have no strategy. They've tried this, they've tried that. And I used to get this a lot when I was in real estate, and a lot of people would go, okay, why do you want a bigger house? Okay, because I'm upsizing. And then some negotiators would go, great, this family just wants to upsize. But actually, the real people who are always top performers would go, actually, what's the reasoning for your upsizing? And they go, oh, well, we're thinking about having another kid. We've already got 2 kids already.
Working from home.
Yeah, working from home. Upsizing actually means just having the bigger garden and letting them play in the garden. So something flat, something that gets a lot of sun. So that becomes the one.
So you could have a scenario if you go, oh yeah, we just want a bigger place. You take that for granted and then start showing them bigger places, but you forget to ask why they want a bigger place and they want a bigger garden, and you start showing them stuff in bigger houses, in big terrace streets,
houses,
with concrete back gardens.
Yeah, concrete, like tiered back gardens, 4 garages when they only have 1 car. So bigger means a lot of things, but actually, what's that reason on why they want a bigger house?
And to come back to that whole, I want more leads on LinkedIn, like we talk about the 5 pathways.
Mm-hmm.
If you're an introvert on LinkedIn, the last thing you want to do is direct outreach. If you're an introvert on LinkedIn, you might not want to do events or webinars because you're like, I don't want to put myself out there on camera.
Yeah.
But you might do a newsletter. You might grow an email list. If you're a salesperson and you've got a quota to hit and you're a bit more extroverted, you probably want to do direct outreach. So if I went onto a sales call and I didn't understand that first, I could propose webinars to introverts and content to salespeople.
Mm-hmm.
And salesperson goes away, well, that's really interesting. I can see how that could work, but I'm an outreach person.
Yeah, and like the exact same features and benefits. Like we could have the same person who goes, I'm incredibly time poor. Now, me telling them about the online portal where we recorded 40 hours worth of training, it's all perfect and best practices.
I'm time poor, but we've got 40 hours worth of training.
And by the way, you could also join our weekly group session where we can do live sessions with you every single week. That's not a selling point to that person.
That's a burden.
Yeah, like that's probably good for someone who probably, the business owner who feels a bit lonely. They want a bit of community. They like to go in and review things in their own time and do almost like a bit of an instruction manual. For the time poor person, I'm going, in this program, you get on-demand one-to-one coaching. So instead of figuring things out yourself or trying to learn yourself, why don't you tell us what you want to fix and we'll get the dedicated coach on the call with you and we'll solve it in 30 minutes. That's the benefit. That's how I'm going to get that.
And the 40 hours of library, you don't even bother with it.
There's no need to mention it right now.
It's there, but we don't really want them to, for somebody who's time poor, the last thing you want to say is 40 hours worth of video.
But then I guess that will probably lead us to our final point, Dean, is that most people, they feel like they have to oversell their product and service. So we've got the time poor person in front of them. If I started strong with the on-demand one-to-one and building that tailored plan that fits their time and the right path for them, and then I started going about the online course and then the live group stuff, that might actually work against me because I'm now giving too much stuff that they don't need now.
Yeah.
And I feel like some people get into that habit of, I need to oversell, I need to over-deliver, so I'm going to tell you every single feature and benefit of the product.
When actually it's like 30 minutes a week, I could do all this. That's a win.
Yeah, I don't need the other stuff.
But if, like, for an example, we get a lot of clients that come to us and their messaging is not great, they need a lot of hand-holding. So they're looking for that more intensive, more involved process because they've tried a lot of things, got their fingers burnt and now realized actually it's not my amount of effort, it's the way the message is landing. And so they need that kind of longer. And I guess that's what we're saying here, isn't it? Is you could have, like us, you could have people come on a call. They don't know much about you. They first want to know, can you get me leads? Can you help me get leads?
Yeah.
But why they want leads, how they want to get leads, all becomes necessary. Before you can sell them, you have to know that. Otherwise, you could sell You could sell a 4-bedroomed house with a concrete back garden to a family who want a 3-bedroom house with a big back garden.
Mm-hmm.
And then they go, oh, it's a really nice house, but it's not for us.
Yeah. And a lot of times when you do that, you end up losing people's trust. And then they go to other options.
I don't know what else to say there. So sales calls get messed up because usually your eagerness to sell, your passion to sell your thing, you forget to diagnose your customer and what they want, what's important for them. And so when you then pitch, if we want to say pitch, you actually share the wrong elements of your service that doesn't land. They don't see how it connects to their goals, doesn't connect to their problem as well. And you could you could basically sell the wrong thing to the wrong person. Right person, wrong thing, or wrong emphasis. So you've got to really dig into what do they want? Why does it matter for them? Then you can go, here's how I'd approach the problem and show your service.